And there's something happening across the nation right now that people do not realize is taking place that likely is going to be equaling more stimulus checks. And this is happening on a federal level for everybody in the nation and on state levels as well. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest, and we're hearing this is likely going to be needed with the way things are going with our economy. We're in a recession. We've got 41-year high inflation, record food and gas prices, and you guys, a little bit of help would be nice. Well, I'm going to be covering for you in this video federal and state stimulus checks of $2,000. This is your breaking news stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, a lot of people think that the stimulus checks are dead and we don't have any more going on at all. And that is by no means the case. That is actually, there's quite the opposite going on right now on federal and state levels. And just to show you some of what's taking place right now, take a look at some of these headlines coming out right now, you guys. 2 days ago, Governor Wolf, legislators introduced Pennsylvania Opportunity Program, continuing to fight for $2,000 direct payments to Pennsylvanians. That's right, in the state of Pennsylvania. Just 2 days ago, right now, they are still fighting to send out checks in the state, trying to pass it through their Congress. And this is as a result of what people don't realize is taking place, and that is surplus, excess funds across the nation. There is tons of leftover money, so much that states don't even know what to do with it. Take a look at this, you guys. Just coming out, inflation, high energy prices means for Texas legislators, they're going to have an unprecedented amount of funds to allocate next year. The state will have an extra $27 billion in their coffers for 2023. Money that could help pay for property tax cuts and other legislative priorities. So much money in the state of Texas, they don't know what to do with it. And a lot of Texans are saying, well, why don't you cut us some checks? Take a look at this, you guys. Now, you don't want to miss this. California. How big is California's historic budget? Visualized. What we're hearing is California has so much excess funds, the state itself could send out everybody in the nation a stimulus check. As a matter of fact, they could wipe out all the student loan debt in the nation with the amount of surplus they have, which is just insane, because normally we talk about budget deficits. There's budget surpluses. There's just so much money floating around right now. Take a look at this. Georgia, likely again to run a multi-billion with a B budget surplus, you guys. And I told you that late last night. I was up doing some research. I found 5 different stimulus programs going on in Georgia right now in various cities because they've got so much money they don't know what to do with it, and Florida as well. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis announced the surplus for fiscal year 2021-2022 at $21.8 billion. And that is a historic level for them. And all this money, they don't know what to do with it, and there's likely going to be more provisions on the way. Now, as you guys know, I'm keeping you up to date on all of these. If you haven't already, go to www.reliefroadmap.com, put in your email. I'm keeping you up to date as when they figure out what to do with this money. There's these stimulus check programs, these essential worker programs, rent relief programs popping up left and right. There's tons. And I'm doing research so that way you can know about them, because people think there's just the federal level checks and there's nothing else. And that is not the case. States, cities, counties, sending them out all the time. But in many cases, you got to apply. You got to know what exists. You got to be eligible. You got to know where to go. And it's very difficult. Trust me, I know. I've been doing tons of research on this, and I didn't realize what a can of worms I was opening up trying to track down everyone in the nation. But I want to make sure that my viewing community here does not miss out on anything that's available to them. So I'm going to be assembling that. And if you want to know when it comes out, be on the list, www.reliefroadmap.com. And I'm going to be doing an email blast here very soon, testing out the system, because as I mentioned, I am not tech savvy. I've never done this before. This is not my thing, but I'm going to figure it out so that way you can have access. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't already, go sign up so that way you can have access to all the state, city, and county checks in the nation. And now, let's talk about on a federal level for everybody in the nation, not just broken down by states, cities, and counties, but for everyone in the nation. Take a look at this, you guys. Unspent funds color the debate over additional pandemic relief. This came out earlier in the year, and we're hearing confirmation this still applies. There's tons of excess funds in the United States, so much so they could send out a 4th and a 5th check. They could send out the largest check we have ever seen. Don't need to add to the deficit, won't add to inflation. Money from previous packages just sitting there unused, just needs to be sent out. Now, I'm going to get you all the details. We're going to dive right in. But before we do me a quick favor. If you appreciate these updates, keeping you up to speed on everything going on, don't forget to take a quick second, smash the like button for me. Helps out out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. I'll make sure you don't miss out on anything. All you got to do is very quickly hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions for me, where you can learn about growing wealth, personal finance, investing, starting businesses, real estate, stocks, cryptos. If you want to change your life, I know everyone's going through a hard time right now. Once we get back on our feet, let's go ahead and take control of our lives and change our finances. Join that second channel. More content coming there very soon as well. But with that being said, you guys, let's dive into these articles. I'm going to give you some updates on this surplus. Tons of leftover excess money, so much they don't know what to do with on state and federal levels. Let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so let's dive into these articles. First, let's start off with some of these states, and then at the end, we're going to be talking about on a federal level for the entire nation, all of this excess money. Now, first off is California, and this is impressive. Wait till you see the visuals on this. So their excess funds is $300 billion, and they give visuals so that way we can grasp, get some sort of scale as to how much money this actually is. Now, you can see the total budget surplus, $300 billion. You can see one money sign equals $1 billion. Well, they've got 300 of those, and that's enough to send out every Californian in the state on a $7,500 vacation. What do you think about that? Sounds pretty good, huh? Also, 6.2 million Tesla Model 3s could go out to everybody in the state between the ages of 25 and 34. And that's 3 times the estimated cost of the high-speed rail project. They have 3 times the amount of that entire project. 1.2 times Texas's current 2-year budget. They've got more than the state budget for 2 years for the state of Texas. 2 times the federal student loan debt for California students. So they could wipe out all the student loan debt for the state. And also, you guys, just to give you some perspective, that third $1,400 stimulus check had a price tag of $400 billion. So this is about 75% of that. So they could send out a stimulus check to everybody in the nation of roughly $1,000. That's absolutely incredible. They could send it out on their own with their state surplus. That's how much money they have in the state. Now, also, take a look at this. A $2,000 check is trying to go out in Pennsylvania, and links in the description below to all of these articles. If you want to read them for yourself, Governor Wolf sending out $2,000 direct payments to Pennsylvanians. Today, Governor Tom Wolf was joined by State Representative David DeLusso and stakeholders and community members to discuss the reintroduction of the Pennsylvania Opportunity Program, which would send $2,000 checks directly to Pennsylvanians. Now, he gave some quotes, but jumping down, in February, Governor Wolf unveiled a $1.7 billion proposal for Pennsylvania's $2 billion in Federal American Rescue Plan Act dollars. So this is all coming from that American Rescue Plan. As we mentioned, this is from previous stimulus packages. This is not new spending. This is excess funds just sitting there that they're trying to figure out what to do with. And here in Pennsylvania, they're trying to send out $2,000 stimulus checks. Now, also, this is happening in Texas. Take a look, you guys. $27 billion sitting in the coffers. It says record high tax revenues over the last year will give Texas lawmakers an astounding extra $27 billion to send in 2023 legislative session, the state's top accountant said on Thursday. Now, in total, lawmakers will have $149.07 billion in general funds, Comptroller Glenn Heger said. Going into last regular legislative session in 2021, lawmakers had $112.5 billion at their disposal. Right now, states flush with cash. Now, this is just coming out in the state of Texas as they decide what to do with the funds, what sort of provisions, what proposals. I will keep you up to date here on the channel, and hopefully I'll be adding to my comprehensive list of stimulus checks. Also, this is happening in Georgia, as I mentioned, link in the description below. Georgia could have more than $5 billion in surplus revenue after just concluding their budget year, following another big month of tax collections in June. Now, the state revenue department announced Friday that it collected more than $33 billion in taxes at the year's end in June 30th, and up 23% from the $27 billion that they had last year. So tons of surplus. And as I mentioned, Georgia, they've got a ton of programs going on right now. There are essential worker programs, there's low income programs, there's rent programs, there's monthly reoccurring stimulus checks. In Georgia, there is a lot of stimulus provisions. I'm going to keep you up to date on that. Now, that's going on a state level. So there are a lot of states where some have excess funds, some don't have as much. And a lot of people are saying, well, my state, my city, my county, they're not offering anything. Well, on a federal level, this is the case as well. And that is why this is by no means off the table here on a federal level. And also, this is a midterm election year. And historically, what we see is that during the midterms, that's when Congress starts cranking away to try to get things done because they want to get the votes of the American people. That is when we see things start to happen. And we're hearing that executive actions, legislation, all this stuff is taking place. And just in the past couple weeks, we have seen come back reoccurring Social Security increases, child tax credits, talks about gas stimulus checks, recession stimulus checks. There's an assortment of different provisions that are hitting, and I just shared with you in my last video, Bernie Sanders bringing back all of these provisions that were originally in the Build Back Better bill that have been cut out. These are all coming back, and it's at no surprise as we get closer to these midterm elections. And take a look at this, you guys. Congress members, I don't know if they've forgotten, maybe they're holding out, but right here in this article, came out in January, still rings true right now in August. Take a look at this. Of the $5.7 trillion in fiscal support that Congress has provided since early 2020 to help out through the pandemic, about $800 billion remains unspent or uncommitted, according to the Committee of Responsible Federal Budget think tank. Though those figures might lag, but we've received confirmation that they are not. There's still $800 billion just sitting there. And as I mentioned, that third $1,400 stimulus check, that had a $400 billion price tag, which means they could send out a fourth check of $2,800 or a fourth and a fifth of $1,400. That's how much excess funds is just sitting there. The federal government and states are flush with cash. Don't be surprised if more provisions start rolling out pretty soon. So there you have it, you guys. That is the latest. And whatever unfolds, if we have tons of stimulus checks across the nation for huge amounts, or if we don't have any at all and Congress just decides to close up their coffers, which would be pretty crazy that there's literally billions and they're not going to give it out. Whatever unfolds, if it's something on either extreme or in between, I'll be sure to report it so that way you know what's going on. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash the like button. Helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. If you appreciate the content, helps me out. Also, leave your comments. Love hearing your thoughts. Share this out if you think it could help out other people. Why not? All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions? It's where you can learn about growing wealth and personal finance. More content coming on that channel as well. And like I said, if you haven't already, join my list, www.reliefroadmap.com, a list of every check in the nation available to you right now so you don't miss out on anything. www.reliefroadmap.com, add your email right now. But with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless.